this photo I have? I think so. The way, like, how I always say, like, it needs to retest the limit orders. The fact that it clearly retests the limit orders here, and then CVD wasn't able to make a new high, like, to me, it was just so obvious. Although it wasn't a key level, even I had said it was a B plus. I even labeled it a B plus, but after the week went forward, I like realized it was lower quality than what I actually thought.
This is the 25th.
No, I was looking at the 25th, but then I moved to the 24th.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have that same screenshot up.
Um, but I don't like what do you feel like you're missing
Right
or
now, it
you
was like
think?
outside of hesitation, because some of the moves that I feel I missed might have also not hit targets that I was on planning on. So I feel like I got to learn what type of motion we're in, or like that's going to give me moves that are going to hit my target. So like I have an understanding with the screenshot that you just had up. That was like an 11-point rejection, and then you entered and exited at similar to the 11-point rejection. But that was such a short target, and it really did like reverse after that. And so I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
like how do we? Well, once I start getting the confidence to pull the trigger on a trade, but then I also got to be like, yeah, like that might have worked, Delay, but what was your target? And a lot of times I don't even have a target written down until after, because like obviously I'm focused on trying to find the entry.
Yeah. Shoot, even me, I kind of deal with that sometimes still. Like with this one, I had it. I knew I wanted it to go under 6,600, but I was like, do I want this low over here, like 65.90, like 91, 92 area, or do I want pre-market low? But then as the market was coming down, I was seeing these limit orders just sitting here. And the main thing that made me exit was, and this, I use this a lot, honestly. Look at when it was coming down and I seen it coming down into these limit orders, I started to look to my left and look at where this support, oh, fucking my. Look at how it perfectly aligns with this previous down drop. I mean, this previous support on CVD. When I seen this, I was like, oh shit, this may flip on me. And the fact that one, it wasn't a key level that I was at, I had to keep in mind that my entry and exit had to be fast. So the fact that this drop was so massive here and created a low here on this CVD, the next time the market started coming down, and once I was already in the trade, I was like, damn, if this holds here, I'm gonna be fucked. So as soon as I realized, like, oh shit, I'm 10 points. As soon as I realized this 97 was 10 points from my entry, I was like, and I seen this like start to like chop kind of, or like it honestly, I didn't even give it time to chop. I was just like, it's not my key level. It's coming down to this support level on CVD. Unless it broke very aggressive, I would have kept holding it. But the fact that like it kind of just like slowly came down into this support level, I instantly was like, all right, I'm getting out. So as soon as this pop happened, I just exited. But I use this idea of like once I'm in the trade, now I'm looking at okay, sellers are in control, obviously, as we're seeing the CVD dropping. But now, when do sellers lose control? And the only way I could figure that out is where does CVD next have to break in order for sellers to stay pushing this lower? So that's why I'm not too stressed about. I'm obviously you want to know your target before you get in, but if I don't know exactly my target, I'm always clear on like, okay, where is CBD going next and where is it gonna struggle next? That was actually, dude, that was one thing today because ChatGPT had said, don't take Carmine's trades, but just look at how he reads order flow. And I think I even mentioned it in the chat. and I screenshotted it because I was like, "Oh shit, this is actually very obvious." Where to go? Right here. So, was it pre-market low? Oh yeah. So there is this large seller right here, which was like 2,000 lots. And to me, I was like, okay, obviously we're selling off super aggressively here. And then in my head, I was like, as it was bouncing, I was like, where could the market potentially reject again? And I seen that we had like this LVN basically in the SVP here above this volume. And then I was like, oh, well, that aligns with pre market low. And then I was like, oh, that aligns with this large seller here. And then I went to look at CVD and I was like, okay, let's see the last time or the last resistance that CVD has to test. So let me see. Oh fuck, I messed it up. So in my head, as this was popping up, I was like, if CVD cannot get above this previous resistance here, then the market most likely will keep coming down. But as a CVD, I mean, as price was trying to get above pre-market low, I started to see like, okay, CVD isn't really um, trying to resist this resistance here. It seems like it wants to kind of get above it. So I was like, this probably is gonna keep going up higher if it can break those. Is it this one? Yeah, look at this here. So this is that same idea, what I just meant, that line I had drawn right here. It's the previous resistance. So as it tried to break here, CBD is just like consolidating at this line. And then once it gets above that resistance, it tries to pull back here. And as soon as this happens, the volume started to. Did I not get a better photo? Fuck, that's why. I could have sworn I got another photo. Ah, that sucks. I thought I had a better photo. Um, but because like it's not as obvious here because the thing is it's not a key level, so it's not the volume isn't going to be as obvious. But the fact that CVD was able to recapture this resistance zone was a key factor to hinting that the market was going to want to keep going higher. I don't know if you view CVD like that, but that was one of the main things that started helping me realize who's in control.
I just sometimes don't know what the best resistance or support line would be for CBD.
I feel that too because I kind of still question myself on that.
If we're at
But for
zero,
me,
that's the easiest.
what?
If we're at the zero line, that's when it's the easiest.
Yeah, hell yeah. Um, the best thing I could suggest with that is just seeing like where these dramatic drops occur. So like if this aggressive drop occurred on CVD, this is going to be a strong resistance that CVD has to fight with. Right here, it's not as strong, but the drop is pretty. Um, it almost looks like a waterfall just coming down, compared to like it just like trending down slowly. So when you see these rapid drops on CVD, that becomes a key area where CVD has to recapture above if buyers are going to keep pushing higher.
What's the story being told of like yeah, in this version in this photo, the CVD drops look like the extreme, and so do the bubbles. But sometimes there'll be these like extreme drops, but it doesn't necessarily mean the price would drop. It was just more like a big thing sold or something, right? I don't know if I'm making sense, but because
Like today,
I don't
when you
remember.
were going to get long,
Let me
did
pull
it
it up.
drop aggressively or was that just price that dropped?
I
You know
can't.
what I'm talking about?
I don't remember right now what it looks like, and I haven't taken screenshots for today yet.
I don't think I have that screenshot either.
But I'm just wondering. I guess.
I would have to see an example.
But what am I trying to say? Like, never mind. It'll come to me. But that was interesting the way you explained CBD.
But like for this week in general, I posted this picture earlier too. Is just like we didn't. This was look at the only time we really tested supply intraday was this circle here, this yellow circle, and then obviously today. I mean on Wednesday, and then obviously on today we came down into the 4 hour demand, but it wasn't a valid. I mean, it didn't hold that support just because the market was so ready to sell off. But really, like when it comes to this type of situation where we're just in how do I call it in inside the range, this is really when you gotta just sit sidelines. Unless you're willing to take that shallow pullback that occurred here, which I do want to be more open to.
Yeah, I actually started seeing shallow pullbacks a lot. I guess we got to really train on what confirmations we're supposed to look at to think, all right, this isn't going to pull all the way back.
Yeah, that's where it gets a bit tough because let me see if I have other examples of shallow pullbacks. Um, this does kind of seem like one, but one of the main things is you on a shallow pullback, you don't want to see CVD have an aggressive pullback as price is pulling back. If CVD has an aggressive pullback as the shallow pullback's occurring, it's most likely going to come back and test those lower limit orders. Like if you see the hold up, this is throwing me off. No trade here, shallow pullback. Okay, look at this here. So the market bounced off these limit orders here, and then it has an aggressive reclaim, as I pointed out here, and then it pulls back once, and then it just starts to like top above demand zone. This right here that you see is it was 15 minutes of the market just consolidating above demand. That's a key sign of acceptance. And then if you see on the pullbacks that are occurring here, the CVD is barely even coming down. Like it's not aggressively dropping. So this is showing us that one, we're having acceptance. Two, CVD is trending upward. So then once it, the only thing that sucks here is that there's not like a clear limit order test. So you would have to really trust that the market's really gonna hold above this demand zone. But that's one thing. Like, okay, so this is one example where CVD didn't aggressively pull back as we had a shallow pullback, and then I'll show you another example of a shallow pullback, like this one. Look at CVD here. So, and it honestly, it works best when it's higher time frame zones. So this one's a 4 hour pre-market. What was that last one I just showed you? I'm sure it shallow pullback. This was a 90-minute demand zone. If it's like a 45-minute demand zone, I would be more cautious of it. I wouldn't be too quick to jump on that. But like I was mentioning, the oh wait, the is it this one? Look at CBD here. It's the same exact type of scenario. The market aggressively gets above demand. You can see aggressiveness by one, the volume here, two, the size of the bubbles, just how aggressive. So you don't have to get in on this and be like, damn, I missed it. If you see this aggressive pop, 13 points, now it's like, okay, am I seeing CVD come back down aggressively or is it slowly continuing to trend up? So if you see the price coming down and you're continuing to see CVD holding up, and then here it's a way cleaner because you get these limit orders that stack up here. So once market comes down into these limit orders and you're seeing CVD hold like this is B plus plus shallow pullback, I would say. Like the way this appears is super valid. But the key thing to this was it's a 4 hour demand. Market already tried to break the demand zone in pre-market. And here in pre-market, obviously we got this aggressive push up. And then right when the market opens, it's just consolidating up here. This is a sign of acceptance here when it just consolidates like this. So then once the market comes back down into this 4 hour demand zone, you're most likely, because of the way all this action occurred here, you're not going to get the cleanest A plus absorption setup we get because buyers are already ready to make this pop because we're seeing all this aggression previously. So as it's coming down, you could kind of prepare yourself for like, okay, I may not get an absorption setup, but I may get this shallow pullback setup. So those are the kind of things you have to like adjust yourself to. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, and then with this one kind of seems like it could have been easier to pick a good stop, like put a little risk on it. But the points, like even if you use the that low a day, it's only a few points, or the limit orders before below. I mean, that wouldn't be an actual setup if you use the limit orders below the low a day. But like the point differential
No.
isn't
So
too much.
my stop was under these limit orders. That's another thing. Like if you really study shallow pullbacks, you don't have to put your stop so far on shallow pullbacks. You can make it under as long as you know what you're seeing is a shallow pullback, you can rely on the fact that if I put my stop under these limit orders, then I don't have to stress that much. Because shallow pullbacks, once buyers are ready to continue the push, it's most likely not going to come back. But like I said, here the most valid reason why this was a valid shallow pullback to take was how aggressive the price bounced, and then when it came back, the limit orders just aggressively sat there, like they did not disappear at all, and it's right at the demand zone. They're not always going to be this easy to see though, like the one that occurred on this day. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. Like this one, look at CVD. Although it wasn't as clean of a trending to the downside. The pullback on CVD was still not very aggressive, so that's a good sign. So we got the aggressive pop into these limit orders. Market rejects. The tough part right here is that I personally didn't see this as a very aggressive rejection. It was just like it was just a rejection, and it was about 11 points, I think, also. And then when it pops back up, that's why I was kind of waiting for that retest of these limit orders up here. But the key signal that this would work was the limit orders here, and then the fact that CVD didn't make a higher high here. So these two things, limit orders, CVD held the higher high. You could have got in like right here, 67, 66.78, 66.77.50 with the stop above 80, maybe 81, 82, 9, 80, 81, 82. That's a 4 point stop. So it's just But the main thing also is the CVD pullback wasn't very aggressive. Let me see if I have another one. I think I do. Uh, shallow, shallow, shallow. Did I pull this one up already? Oh yeah. But see how like where'd it go? See how this one is super obvious because how aggressive the buying is, and then we get that consolidation above demand, so that's showing us acceptance. The only thing that makes this one harder was that we didn't get the limit order retest here. But this set, the way it accepts price like this is a good sign. But then look at today where we had that acceptance above demand and then it drops lower and then it consolidates down here and then it sweeps beneath. So like that's why you can't fully like that's why I said in the chat the win rate of a shallow pullback is lower than the win rate of an absorption setup. And that's why I label it B plus rather than A plus, because there could be moments where this occurs and then it sweeps under and you get stuck and you're stopped out. So if you do take a shallow pullback, you have to take it knowing like, okay, my probabilities of this winning are good, but they're lower than my A plus setup. Because you could get faked out also. I'm trying to. Oh, here's another one. See, this one's a little different, but look at the CVD. CVD is a key signal here. We get this aggressive pop up above demand. You don't see the acceptance as clean, but this aggressively drops down into this. It becomes a shallow pullback because it doesn't fully test the limit orders. But look at what CVD did. CVD barely pulls back. So that's a good sign that if buyers step in aggressively at any point, you could get long here, and you could still set your limit orders under low a day in this case. But that's why I'm saying like the way it appears is how do I say it like I mean obviously they're not the setup even an A plus absorption setup doesn't appear exactly the same every single time. The only thing that would make it exactly the same is I need that retest of the limit orders. But that's why shallow pullbacks, like I keep mentioning, are a little less probable because you don't have as clean of an opportunity to get in. Where like it's like, okay, I could definitely get in here with full confidence. And what I'm trying to convince myself of is like I almost don't want to take shallow pullbacks right now because I want to get my capital up. And I'm like, damn, if I take shallow pullbacks too often, I could be risking my profits a little more than I'd like to. But if I say say I could get my money up to $1,000 in profit, or let's say now I'm I get 3 months of consistent profitability, and now I'm trading two contracts. Now, if I take a shallow pullback, I'll take it with one contract, so I'm not risking as much. And then if I see a A plus absorption, I'll take that with two contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So you're adjusting your risk according to the kind of setup you're taking.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of our trades that we lose because we get, what do you call it, like liquidity sweep, or what do you call it when they just take like they just kill all these people shorts and then it works? Like, or no, I mean they stop everyone and then it goes in your favor.
Yeah, like the stop hunt.
Yeah, I feel like with it, well maybe not getting stopped, but like the second contract, I feel like just helps a lot. Like, because usually it reaches our 10 point and then it consolidates in that 10 point. That it looks scary because sometimes it goes down, but then it takes off in the long side, and then I'm sure our stop will be adjusted differently if it reached our initial target. Pull some profits, use the second contract to see if it'll go higher. That's just
For a runner.
yeah, that's just exciting. Like the idea when I start doing that,
Yeah,
because so many
I
winning
agree.
trades I've seen both of us take. I haven't seen Gabe trade in a minute, but it'll hit our target, and then like, ah, I wish you should have stayed. But that's like, well, that's when you're ready for two contracts or multiple.
Yeah.
Did you see this
Uh,
post? I don't know if you sent it or I just saw it randomly because now my algorithm is like trading stuff. But there must have been like some trading conference or something for like very amateur people. But they went and this guy with the camera was like recording everyone like at these tables, like, oh, how much you win today? And it's like, and they weren't even saying crazy numbers. They're like, oh, I want $200. Like, oh, I want $400. This guy's like, oh, I follow my rules, so I had to follow my rules, so I didn't win any money. And I was like, man, that's
Wait,
kind.
is it a black guy who's asking them?
I don't remember seeing the camera guy.
Because there's this guy who has a trading at like a house where it's like maybe like a table of just traders, and they ask them that every time.
No, this one was like a conference hall where like just random circle tables
Oh,
and random people at the tables, and he was just walking around. But you could tell like everyone there was for trading, so I was just like, damn, that's kind of tight because they weren't talking about crazy money either. They're like, I made $200, I made $300.
yeah, yeah, too. Uh, we get that aggressive. Well, this one's not as aggressive of a pop, but the key signal here would be how we consolidate above demand for what is this? 8 minutes here? No, two, four. Oh, this is just 4 minutes of consolidation above demand, but you get multiple rotations. So this is one rotation, this is two rotation, this is three rotation, and then when it comes down one more time, look at how CVD doesn't pull back aggressively on that, and then you get that aggressive boost of buying here.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you've been realizing, but every time that shallow pullback occurs, the CVD pullback is a lot less than say, where's the last time I took an A plus absorption? Uh, this one worked. See, look at see how aggressive CVD pulls back here. So you get the 7 point bounce off these 6,900 limit orders. Market aggressively pulls back, sweeps the lows, but look at how aggressive CVD pulls back also.
Damn.
It's a way different approach to how CVD holds that low. So that's how you could get a clean. Damn, this was actually not even at a key level. That's bad. I don't even know when I took this in February. I was struggling in February. Um, but it's the same idea though. The CVD on a plus absorption setups, the CVD is going to have a drastic pull down, but it has to hold a key level. Let me see if there's another one. A plus setup short. Did I get in on this? This one's not as obvious of a pullback on CVD, but the retest of the limit orders is very obvious here. And then CVD fails to make higher highs, so that's a clean opportunity. Um, but yeah, like I don't know what I was gonna say right now. Does what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot of it is like it's making sense now after the fact because I'm like, ah, how did I not see that? And like right now, I'm getting like flashbacks of that book in the zone, and I'm like, I'm noticing how there's days where I feel more focused, and then there's days where I do the same routine, but maybe I'm just not as focused. And
No, that's me too. I do feel though, like I think I've told Gabriel this, or maybe you've been in the conversation too, where it's like as we're developing our skills, like for example, when I was learning CVD, I was hyper focused on CVD that I wasn't so focused on limit orders, or I was hyper focused on limit orders that I wasn't so focused on CVD, or even when I was paying attention to the volume bars on bookmap, like I was hyper focused on the volume bars that I wasn't focused on CVD. So like sometimes I'll focus on one part and I'll forget to focus on another part. Honestly, one of my biggest mistakes that I try to not do right now is when the market's opening, I kind of sometimes forget to like pay attention to what CVD is doing because CBD is telling me who's in control. So like I'm always trying to remember like when I wake up and the market's about to open, like tell myself like, okay, is CBD trending upward from a low, or is it like consolidating, or is it dropping drastically? Like that kind of starts to give me an idea of what the market wants to do almost. But then again, like um if you hyper focus on that, you may come up with a bias that you also don't want that either. Like don't hyper focus on CBD that like you're like, oh, shorts are gonna work today. Just it's a balance of like, okay, I have this key level, CBD is doing this, limit orders are appearing here. It's just like a balance of everything. But definitely like as you develop your skills, like you're gonna things you'll start to put them together, but as you're working on developing how you view CBD, you may hyper focus on that when you should be also focusing on like how is price reacting to these limit orders. Um, but I don't know. You got any other questions? We're not even really going through the week. It was kind of hard to like. I mean, do you? Is there a specific day you want to look at?
Nah, not really. Like to me, like what we're doing right now. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to all the dates of what you were clicking on, but just reviewing random moves has been helping. That's like I guess what I'm doing now with like the whole data of screenshots. So
Yeah,
I just started like this week really taking that more serious and really honing it in. And so I'm just now I'm just kind of like
I
ah
would recommend doing this. What I have here, because it helps me like just look back at the past. Right now, this is from the beginning of the year to current day. I haven't marked the current day, but these little dots that I have here are telling me like, okay, this first week of the year, I was green. This and then 5 days pass. This second week of the year, I was green. This third week of the year, I was green. This fourth week. So this is how I know exactly where the week split up by how I ended the week. And I mark it on the Monday of that week or the week that we started. So each dot represents the beginning of the week. And then on the days, I'll put like, for example, on the 24th of February, I missed the A plus setup, and then I'll just put it was a long at 45-minute demand. And then on the 25th, there was no setup. Like if I click on it, there most likely be like look at this. There was no key level that appeared here, nothing here for me to even be trying to consider trading this. So I can just click on any day and just know or like just look at the week in a broad sense and understand like okay on the week of uh March 2nd when was the A plus setup that appeared so on March 2nd there was a B plus long on the thing is also sometimes I'll take B setups and I won't realize that like I missed the A plus setup. So that's one thing that kind of sucks with this. Um, but like on this random 3-4, there was a B plus long at a gap reclaim. So I can just this is just super helpful to see the market in a broader sense. The main reason why I started doing this was because I wanted to see throughout the week how many times are A plus setups appearing. And then this is when I realized, like, okay, an A plus setup usually only appears once a week. Like if I start here, no setup, no setup, no trade, A plus setup on what is that? Thursday. And then an A plus setup. Wait, was that Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then an A plus setup Friday. And then the following week, I took a C trade. There was no setup on the 13th, C trade, and then there was an A plus setup on that Thursday also, and then no setup on Friday. And then the third week, there was a no setup on Monday, but there was an A plus setup on Tuesday, and then an A plus setup. Damn, there was a lot of A plus setups this week on Wednesday, and then Thursday also. So I did this to train myself to accept that there's not an A plus setup every single day, and there's A plus setups 1 to 3 max days. Like expecting an A plus setup every day, this helped me understand that because now I'm late. I'm looking at it from a broader sense.
I like the way
Yep.
you're labeling it. It's helping me. Yeah, I do want to try try it the way you do it. I have like too many folders to open up, and I like the way seeing it like a list.
Yeah. Um, it's easier when like I didn't realize how many weeks I've had already. But like when it's like just 1 month, it's a lot easier to really like analyze like okay, like this is how the month is going. And even if I don't take the setup, I'll just put I missed this A minus setup or I missed this A plus setup like this one here.
Hmm.
Um but I'm telling you, like if I just click on a no setup day, did I damn I clicked on that one already. That's kind of crazy. This no setup day here. What the fuck? Why do I keep clicking the same date? A no setup. Right here, 219. Oh, this actually might be a shallow pullback, but I wasn't focused on shallow pullbacks here. But like, yeah, this one was actually a shallow pullback. I just didn't label it as shallow pullback because I wasn't focused on them in February. Um, I am trying to journal them a little more now though. Uh, but how do you feel about the volume profile?
Sometimes I can't tell. Not that I can't tell, but just sometimes I've noticed when HVNs work, LVNs work. So it makes it. I guess I just got to focus in on what is truly going on in the order flow and the other confirmations when it makes a move at a HVN, and then what that looks like for LVN, just to see how I gotta prepare for those because I've seen a lot of moves happen in HVNs as well.
Yeah, HVNs definitely do have setups also, but it's just that same idea of probabilities where if you have an Albion, it's gonna be one a lot cleaner of a absorption setup, and HVN it tends to chop before the setup actually occurs. So, but that's why like doing this type of stuff is helpful because if you do see a setup, you can just label it like uh H like just the zone and then a eight just make sure you label like right here I'll put like long 90-minute LVN. I don't think I have one with the HVN because I try not to focus on HVNs too much. But it's all about probabilities at the end of the oh right here. Short 45-minute HVN. I think I actually remember this one. I was working on this day. I had a meeting. Yeah, see, the 45-minute, this is the HVN that I had it labeled as. And then on the test up here, it pops up into the 45-minute, and look at you get the A plus absorption. It's a 6 point rejection here, and then the pop into the limit orders as CVD fails to make new highs. So like that, this is what I love about journaling my stuff like this is that I could just click on the day and my screenshots are there. I can just easily see what happened this day. This is one thing that I don't see you and Gabriel do a lot. That I mean, I didn't do it a lot in the beginning either, but labeling that how much that rejection first is like. Uh, that's one of the main things I try to do right now. Is once I see the limit order get tested, my next thing in my head is okay, how many points is this rejecting? So once it makes this rejection, I'm not instantly, it makes me not instantly feel like I'm missing the move. It's my first reaction is, okay, this is the first rejection. It's 6 points rejection. CVD is falling with it. Now my mind can be like, okay, now I need to see that retest. So boom, now the market pops up. It just allows me to be patient because when when you're just seeing price reject like this and you're not thinking of like uh the system, you can this can make you emotional and be like, damn, I'm missing the move, like I could have had a setup here, and then like that just puts your mind in a state of urgency rather than okay, it hit the limit orders. Now I'm seeing a rejection. Now, once it fully rejects, okay, this is a 6 point rejection. CVD is confirming that sellers are here. Now I want to see that retest. And then once it gets into this level, that's when I start to be like, okay, now it's time to start trying to execute. I don't see you do it as much, but I see Gabriel like get real impatient with these first rejections. Which I used to be like that too. But once I started realizing, like, okay, I need at least, depending on the VX, obviously, but I need at least, let's say, 6 to 11 point rejection before it even comes back to retest the limit orders. That has helped calm down my urgency to take a trade or feel FOMO or anything like that. Even if I see the market reject 20, 30 points, like, okay, say I see the market reject 13 points, now it's, or even 20 points. Yes, it is going to have some sense of like, damn, did I miss this? But then as I see it coming back, I could rewire my mind to be like, okay, now should I expect a shallow pullback or should I expect the market to test those limit orders again? Just having that system in your mind really helps with the patience, at least for me.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, damn.
Even like, I think when I remember recently, kind of, you had said like, would you guys consider a pullback or something like that? And then I said like it was 20 points or something. I forgot what I said exactly. But see, even here, like I took a screenshot as the market popped up into these limit orders and I started to see the market reject. As soon as I started seeing this rejection and the market started to pop, I took a screenshot, and after I took the screenshot, I instantly was like calculating like, okay, this is 68.10 and then minus 65.98. How many points is that? It's 11 points. Calculating what CVD did, and now I waited for that up back into these limit orders, and that's what you know how you said I'm hesitating or something like that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This exact thing that I'm pointing out here, how I let the market reject. Once it makes this rejection, now once it pops back up into these limit orders, once it pops back up into these limit orders, if I hesitate like that, that's on me now because I know that part of my system is watching for this rejection and then waiting for that pop. But if I didn't have this concept in my head, I feel like I also would hesitate a lot because I'm like, is it time yet? Is it not time yet? But now accepting that, okay, boom, I got the rejection, CVD is dropping. Now just wait for that, be patient and wait for that retest. And then once it did retest, it popped up into here. As soon as I seen that CVD couldn't make a higher high, and um, the price rejected those limit orders again, I have to put the risk on. Obviously, here it wasn't a key level, so it's a little riskier. But the setup itself, the way I see the setup of the retest of the limit orders, it was there, so I was willing to put the risk on.
Yeah, that one's a good one, but that targets. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this is the one where the target's gonna be 20 points, and like that shit really reversed perfectly at 10.
Yeah, the and I think I don't know if you were there when Gabriel and I had this conversation, but I mean, like, not that we shouldn't want 15, 20 point moves, but in the current space that we're in, like, 10 points is 10 points, dude. Like, that's $50 right there. So it's kind of like the more you see how volatility affects your target, because I feel like this year I'm learning a lot about volatility just because of all the fucking craziness that's been going on. Um, so I feel like this year all I'm learning about is like, well, not all I'm learning about, but part of what I'm learning about is like, okay, when VX is at 30, it's almost hard to even catch a trade because the volatility is so crazy. When VX is between like 21, 25, like you can get clean opportunities. Um, and your targets could be a little larger. When VX is like at 18, 17, 16, the choppiness is a little more present and you want to be quick on getting in and out. So I'm trying to convince myself right now, be okay with just taking 10 points and just study like, okay, I took 10 points, but the market still moved another 10 points. Now it's like, what was the VX that day when I took that trade? And take note of it, which is why like on certain days I'll mark what the VX was because I want to understand that when VX was at this level, I could have expanded my target a little more. But I'm okay with taking the 10 points for now. And maybe next year, uh, I'll be more open to holding a longer target because I've seen all the different volatile conditions. So like don't be greedy now. Just accept the 10 points, accept the 12, 13, 15 points if you could get that. Um, but definitely CVD is part of that, like understanding, like, okay, is it going to flip here or is it going to keep going? Like, even actually, if we rewatch, was it this, like the one that you're talking about? No. Damn, I haven't rewatched Bookmap in a while. That's bad.
Same.
My schedule's just been kind of crazy lately. 24. When you're in a trade, do you zoom out or do you stay zoomed in?
I think I go in and out of different zoom in and zoom out, but right now I don't have like a consistent trading rate where I can remember really what I do. The emotions are crazy though.
I feel that.
and it's like a crazy bomb feeling if it's going in your favor, bro.
This guy's getting addicted.
And I ain't even winning yet.
Oh shit. One. Because what I like to do is when I once I enter the trade, now lately it's usually like a decent entry that I have so I don't have to stress that much. Obviously if I make a mistake then it's a little more stressful. But like if I'm calculated with my entry, I can zoom out and not be stressed about how the market's falling, which is what I did on this trade. What time was it at? Around 7:30. Was this the 11 points? Yeah. So here I got the limit orders at that 66.10, right where this aggressive selling occurred. So this is the 11 points. Now the market's trying to pop back up. And I didn't do this when I was going to get into the trade, but just to point this out now. Look at how we're watching for this retest of these limit orders here. And I don't want CVD to get above these CVD highs here. So now once I'm in the trade, I want to see where's the next level of support. It's going to be around this 10,000 level here where we see this sell off here. The reason I'm saying that is because we had this large push down and this is where CVD got supported. So if we reject one more time here and CVD gets supported again here, at where this large sell off occurred, that could be a red flag, which is what once I was in the trade, what I was paying attention to. Okay, so that's the pop there. I think I got in already because of the way the CVD. Yeah, I was in like on this selling here around 66.08 because of how this CVD got rejected at these previous highs. And we retested the limit orders. So my stop was above these 66.10s. It was like 66.11.25. And now I mean, here I'm kind of stressed because I'm like, damn, I could be getting stopped right now. But seeing this, I was like, okay, I think I'm good. Now that it's falling, I'm zooming out and I'm like, okay, where can I potentially be exiting or have to exit? Initially, it was these LVNs that I wanted to exit. Let me slow this down. But then I'm also seeing these limit orders here at 6,600, and this is a psych level. So I got to be cautious. And then when I realized these limit orders were sitting here, I was like, okay, where's CVD going to struggle to break under? And that's when I realized, oh, I zoomed out too much. That's when I realized I have this support here. And I was like, okay, now I want to see it test these orders. And if CVD can break under this, I'll keep holding it. That's what I told myself. I want to see these 65.97 orders test, but I want to see this CVD line here break under this 10,000. If it doesn't break, that's bad for me. So then I'll like expand it a little more, but keep knowing where that CVD line in the sand is for me. And see what keeps me not emotional about this pop that occurred here was how CVD was still holding I mean, still dropping.
Yeah, I don't know if I pay attention to it this zoomed out, but it does feel more calm to see what CVD is doing at this zoomed out level.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're zoomed in, you don't have a reference point.
Hmm.
But like this, I could know like, okay, I have these 65.97 limit orders, and I need CVD to continue falling for sellers to remain in control. Fuck, why does it do that? There's that 65.97 test, and look at where CVD's testing right now.
Hmm.
So as it pops here, I'm out. Because I'm just like, look at CVD. It didn't continue falling, and it's right at that large sell off support on over here. So
Damn.
in my head, I'm kind of like, damn, did I exit early? But then knowing that this large sell off here occurred, like this large sell off is way more points than what this is. So the fact that CVD is struggling to break this sell off's CVD line in the sand is a red flag. And I had those 65.97 orders, and it was 10 points already. So it's just like, don't get greedy. And it wasn't a key level. But if when it came down into 65.97, I seen CVD continue to drop underneath this line in the sand that I mentioned. But now it's too much. If it continued to drop underneath, why isn't it making the line? Underneath this point, then I would be like, okay, let me hold to this next LVN here at about 65.91. So that I mean that's another layer to consider, but you don't really have to worry about it until you're in the trade. But definitely zooming out like this once you're in the trade helps you stay like in line with what your target is.
Yeah, that's a new one for me.
Yeah, that's been game changer for me.
Tight.
Mhm. But I don't know, any other questions?
I mean, unless you just want to go over more random ones, but nah, that seems pretty good.
All right. What's a good day that we could use?
But now I'm also
Shout
interested in like the long term context of how the market works. Like, how do I say this? For to like truly understand the market the way like Ian does. Like, I guess I'm just getting interested in it in that way.
like um as far as like when like a pullback occurs and when to know the lows are happening, or what do you mean?
No, not even for like day trading. I guess market context and like, but this is more for like long term trading. But it's just interesting, like, because I know knowing the context will help me know. I guess just give me a better understanding if this zone's gonna work or not.
Like one thing I'm paying attention to right now is, did you see how we continued selling off today
Yeah,
after we left from the market or stepped away?
no, I didn't see that.
So in I don't know if you remember last year during uh the Trump tariffs, um the size of the drop that occurred in March, it was like a 36% pullback. Um so now what I'm thinking is, okay, we're in March right now. We're getting to the end of March already. We're about to start going into the second quarter of the year. So I'm trying to ask myself, what is the where's the I don't want to say where's the bottom because I'm also not like super focused on like where is the bottom of the where is the market going to reverse, but in a sense I am very interested in where the market's going to reverse. Uh, so I always do this, especially with like this. It's best to do this like around March and during the summer. Uh, you can already see I have a trend line here. The last time I looked at it, we were down negative 7.37%. In March, usually we're going to get about a 10% to say 20% pullback if it is going to be a correction. So after today, we dropped now 9.29%. Look at how close we are. So I even have the 10% correction marked here at 63.38. So to me, either we're going to hit this 10%, we can even start reversing before we hit that 10%, or we can drop a little lower, maybe 15%, which would be, damn, that would be far actually. Damn, that would be far. That's a big drop still.
How do you know the percentages automatically?
Look at the trend line box that occurs here. You see this percentage here,
Oh, okay.
15%. And then if I put it right where the bottom of this candle is, 9.29%. So that's how I knew that this right here was a 10%. So say we go into a complete bear market, that would be 20%, which is down here around 56.31. But the chances of this happening are very slim because last year we had a 36% pullback. So like a 20% pullback, I mean a 36% pullback last year and then having a 20% pullback right after again in the next exactly a year after from that is less likely. So more than likely we're going to probably pull back about 10, maybe 12, 15%. Let's say 12 is right here, Trump's inauguration. This is where inauguration initially occurred around right here. Um, but now in my mind, I'm like, okay, 10% is here at 63.38. I already marked my levels on this here. And right now we're hitting a daily demand. So going into next week, it's possible that we start. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying it's possible that we start to reverse. Where's that 10% again? Oh shit, I can't see the percentage. 10% is slightly under my daily demand. So either we start to reverse here at this daily demand 64.14, and then we can start to get push again, going back up to all-time high. Obviously not straight up, but start to like either we chop here for a bit and then start to finally move up, or if the Iran war gets more intense, we could continue selling off. Um, but that's how I kind of uh, get my idea of like, okay, now it could be a good time to start loading, start buying up some Bitcoin again, start buying up some Microsoft. I know Microsoft, everyone's saying that it's gotten under its 20 EMA, which it hasn't done, or 200 EMA, which it hasn't done in a long time. You have Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people are saying like now is the time to start buying Microsoft again. But like tech stocks are starting to like make 30% pullbacks, 50% pullbacks. So the fact that tech is pulling back like that and and the market's hitting like that 10% zone, it's starting to like interest me in like, okay, now we may start to hit some support levels. And then this is where the market could start to actually get clean now. We don't get all these fake outs and this craziness that we've been having. So just like in a long-term sense, that's kind of how I get an idea by knowing how much we've pulled back because obviously 10% is correction territory, 5% is just regular type pullbacks, 20% is bear markets. So having those percentages in mind, and once you start seeing the market do these pullbacks, just have those levels marked out. Like, okay, we hit the 5%. Okay, we're hitting the 10%. Okay, now we're getting into bear market. We're hitting 20%. You can kind of start to just come up with your own support levels rather than even having to rely on me.
Yeah, damn.
Um,
And then you just triggered me about Microsoft right now because I think on Market Mondays, either this week or last week, Ian mentioned how he thinks it can get to 350 Microsoft, and you made me go look right now, and it's in 356 right now.
I think it hit his first god damn, that's a crazy drop. I think it hit his first level on the thing, the fucking shit that you send us.
Oh, yeah, okay.
His first level was three oh shit, it hit his second level. Oh no, it hasn't hit his second level yet. But his first level was 383, his second level was 352, and his like load the boat was 192, but it's definitely at that second level now, or it's about to be. Yeah, it's about that time for Microsoft. Damn, that's a crazy correction. See, let's see what the percentage is on that one. If I can't see the percent. 35%, exactly what I said. Tech is starting to hit those 35%. 30 to 50 is kind of crazy, but definitely 30% is good areas to start buying up again. Even Nvidia, I think, is having a decent correction right now. Nvidia's at 21.29%, and it hit his first level 169. His second level is 147, which is a 30% drop. Interesting. See how I didn't even know what his levels were for Nvidia, but I know that Nvidia, because they talk about it a lot, Nvidia likes to have 30% pullbacks. So that's why I already had the 30% marked here. And then looking at in Ian's levels, it lines up with this 30% mark here. I have 148.50 and his level is 147.68.
And where did you learn about the importance of these percentages, or how do you know which percentages matter?
Specifically Nvidia, like if you the oh this is another thing you could do, like say for Nvidia, just look at all the times that it's pulled back. Look at here. This last time it pulled back, which was last year in March, it pulled back 38%. You can see that percentage. Oh fuck, I moved mine. If I mark it, do you see the percentage there?
It's a little
Oh,
blurry,
that's
but
more.
I see the data on this in the box.
So in the box, the third number there, the middle number is 43.4%. Uh, so what you want to do is look at all the different times the stock that you're studying has pulled back and use this little line to see what percent, the trend line, to see what percentage it pulled back the last time it did pull back. So the one we were just looking at was 40%. This next one that I'm pulling up right now is 36%. And then if I make this other one here, this one is oh shit. This one's 22%. But if you do this like over the span of 10 years, you'll realize that Nvidia likes to pull back about 30% on average when it does have its corrections. So that's why I marked this 30% level, because I'm like, okay, if on average over a span of 10 years from the highs, Nvidia likes to pull back 30%, the next time it drops 30%, that's a discounted price to buy at. So say for example you trade, I mean you buy Microsoft, that's like your long-term position that you want to continuously buy all the time. You want to go on the daily or even the month, uh, probably daily is the best, and just go back to each time it's pulled back aggressively. How much percentage did it pull back? So this is from 2021. It pulled back 37, a little more than 37% in 2021. And then if you go back to this time here, what's this?
COVID.
2020. It pulled back 29%. So that's how you realize like, okay, when the stock does have good decent buy areas, it's usually about 30%, because I look back at the past 10 years and all of its corrections tend to be about that same percentage. And right now, Microsoft has pulled back 35%, which lines up with one of Ian's levels. So even if you did this with Bitcoin, you'd realize that Bitcoin likes to pull back like 60%. Let's see what it's pulled back so far. So far, it's pulled back about 51. Not the one lock. 52.45%. That's a little more than 52.45%. But if we see the last time it pulled back, what was it? This one was 32%, which was last year. But Bitcoin goes in 4-year cycles, so you want to see a little further back. This one here. This one's 76%, a little more than 76%. So before the next bull market occurred, Bitcoin pulled back about 70, let's say 75%. So if you want to realize, like, if you want to determine when is the next great time to buy Bitcoin again, it could be around 60 to 70%. We still haven't hit that yet. So I'm not saying it's not time to buy, but I'm also not saying it's a load the boat time to buy either. But that's really what, when I look back at stocks, that's what I'm doing. I'm seeing like, when's the last time it had a drastic fall how many times has it had a drastic fall over the past 10 years? And then what's that percentage that it dropped? And then if we are currently dropping, I'm seeing like, okay, does this align with all the different times that it's pulled back before? Is it that same percentage amount? Is it less? Is it more? And then that will tell me, without even having to get Ian's prices, are we at a good opportunity to buy again? Just for some long term
Damn, Eric, you did it
concept.
again.
That's what I do, dog. That's basically it.
And this was some new stuff that is very useful.
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right, good thing I recorded it. I could tell Gabe if he needs to watch this.
Oh, that's tight. Hell yeah. I mean, that's really all I got.
Not as
I
good.
do hope next week is a lot better, just so that we can start rewatching Bookmap a lot more. Because I mean, there wasn't really much to rewatch this week or last week,
True.
but I do think we should start cleaning up a bit. We got over all the news, like the FOMC type of news. It does seem like Trump wants to end that war, but I mean, who knows how that'll be? But as long as that news starts to like not get more aggressive, I think we should be good for some upside again. Although VX did make new highs today, it hit 28. The previous high was 27.75.
Yeah, VX is another thing that has me entertained. Where I'm like, I never knew how it mattered at all the ranges it'd be in, other than if it's going up, then I need to see my interest do the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I kind of just barely got into also, like towards the end of last year. So I'm still working on that on my end as well. Sometimes I'll even see Gabriel like say like um, he doesn't want to see it break yesterday's high, but um, I feel like there's more. It's more than just wanting to see it break pre-market high or want like this week, like today, for example. Rather than focusing on like, oh, I don't want to see it break pre-market high, it was more like I don't want to see it break all-time high because if it breaks pre-market high, you can still find a long opportunity, but if it breaks all-time highs, then now that's dangerous. So it's just finding those reference points, kind of like CVD, like understanding where's the previous resistance of the last time it. If you compare VX to like, okay, it sold aggressively on this day. Let me just pull it up here real quick.
You hear that, Gabe?
VX.
Eric thinks you're a moron
No.
if you get this far in the video. Psych, I'm just kidding.
No, it's just having reference points for it where it's like, okay, on this day, it dropped super aggressively to the downside, and then this is the same day that Trump released that news on the war, and then it started to chop in here. So for the week, once it started to chop in here, to me, it was more important to focus on these highs here, like this 25.06. Once we started to break above 25.06, it starts to get dangerous to be trying to long as it's breaking above this resistance here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like if you're looking to long something on this day on Thursday, but VX is breaking above previous resistance, just be cautious because it's pushing up higher, so that's going to put pressure on the ES. Just finding those little intricacies in VX. It's very similar to CVD where it's like you don't have an exact supply or demand zone, but you have this like resistance point that it keeps testing and rejecting.
Yeah, that's true. That's the tight way to look at it. I didn't think of that.
Just little things like that. And I learned that from Dylan because he'll point shit out like that. But yeah, I still need to develop my VX knowledge. But definitely understanding it that the idea of the regimes has changed a lot for me also. Like this stuff that we've talked about. The three leg absorption, I haven't really put too much focus on lately. But definitely like when it's in this 19 area, I remember seeing that chopness when it was down here in the one leg absorption during January. There were some good opportunities. I remember that. We haven't really, have we? Yeah, we've gotten quite a few of this 26. We haven't really got much of this higher area here, so I don't really know Honestly, once VX gets above 28.30, it gets a little hard to read the market. That volatility is crazy.
Have we seen that?
Yeah, we seen it. When was the last time we seen it? I don't remember the last time we seen it, to be honest, but I remember seeing it. VX. Um, March 8th, the highs we hit were 30.
Of this year?
Yeah,
Oh, damn, I forgot all about that.
but it kind of happened in pre-market, so it kind of started to die down once the market opened up.
Mm.
But it was pretty damn high up here, 28.30s. But I'm pretty sure if I look at my chart on 3/8, I didn't take a trade. 3/8, 3/8, 3/8.
Bet. Miss. No, no, long
No
loss.
setup.
Chase.
Chase. No setup on 3/9. And that was the day right after it hit the 30s. So see, that's why I like it too. Like I could just that's why I like doing this thing with the chart. I could just look at VX, see what day it hit what, and then compare it to what I seen happen on my journal here. But I definitely recommend doing this. I don't got much else. I'm losing my voice here.
No, that's good. I could hear that too. But no, that's good.
You could send me tips via Cash App. I take Bitcoin.
Damn. I thought we were the day one squad.